everyone, class 12 subject biology, chapter 13 organism and environment. Let's begin the populations. It is the group of similar individuals living in geographical area, sharing similar resources and capable of interbreeding. Population has certain attributes which individual organisms do not possess. Birth rate per capita birth, death rate per capita death, sex ratio, number of males to females in population, age distribution. Age distribution. Population can be composed of individuals of different age groups. Age distributions plot for a given population is given by the age pyramids. The structure of age pyramid determines the growth status, the population, whether it is growing, stable or decline, expanding, stable and decline, post-reproductive red color and reproductive blue colors, pre-reproductive portions. Population size more technically is referred to as population density, indicate the numbers of individuals inhabiting a particular niche. If the population is huge, then relative density is measured inside of absolute density whose measurements is time consuming population growth. A population size is an ever changing aspect since depend upon availability of food, predations, weather conditions, etc. This gives us an idea whether certain population is growing or decline. Some of the regions for increase decrease in populations or decrease in populations. Natality, numbers of birth during a given period in the given population. Mortality representing the number of deaths during a given period in this given population. Immigration, the number of individuals of the same species who have come into the habitat from elsewhere during a given period. Immigration, numbers of individuals of the same species who have left the habitat and gone elsewhere during a given period. If n is population now at time t, then it is density at t plus 1 is next. N t is equal to n t plus b plus 1 minus d plus e. Growth model, exponential growth and logistic growth. Exponential growth when the resource unlimited population tends to grow in exponential pattern. If the population size n, birth, death rate not per capita, b and d respectively, then increase decrease in n of t periods time periods is given by d n upon dt is equal to b minus d into n. B minus D is equal to R. R is an intrinsic rate of natural increase and T N E where N population then NT population density at time NC population density at time 0. R intrinsic rate of natural increase, E base of natural logarithm values 2.71828. Logistics growth when the resource is limited leading to competition between individual and survivals. Fittest the population tend to grow in a logistic manner. Kinds of growth, there is an initial log phase followed by accelerations, decelerations phases, and finally asymptote when if reaches carrying capacity k. When n is relations to plotted the result sigmoid curve card versus logistic growth given by dn upon dt is equal to rnk minus n upon k, and population of density at the time intrinsic rates of natural increase and carrying capacity. Showing this the figure, population density n k and time dn upon dt are n k n by k and dnt are n. So next, life history of variation. Population tend to increase their reproductive fitness in order to survive better. This is known as Darwin fitness higher value. Some organisms breed only once their lifetime, example salmon bamboo. Some breed many times, example birds. Mammals sometimes produce large number of small size offspring, example oyster. Some produce a small number of large size offspring, birds and mammals. Population interactions. Natural habitat consists many organisms together, and these organisms communicate, interact with each other. For example, plants depend on insects for pollination. Interspecific interactions are interactions between two different species of organisms. They can be either beneficial, harmful to one and both pattern. Interspecific interaction, predations, competitions, and parasitism. Predations beneficial to predators while the prey harmed, act as means of transfer of energy. The next, higher trophic plants, herbivores are predators, and same plants produce secondary metabolic thorns, poisonous chemicals to ward off predators. Similarly, animals also accumulate themselves to protect themselves from predators. Some preys are poisonous, distasteful. Butterfly highly distasteful because of a special chemical it acquires during caterpillar storage by feeding on poisonous weeds so as to avoid predators. Competitions occur closely related species wherein they share the same type of habitat and food resources. However, competition to take resources need not always scarce. Competition does not necessarily take place between some same species. Competition, the fitness of one species, significance lower in presence another species, and survival of fittest ultimately take place. Goes competitive exclusion principle state that two closely related species competing for the same resources cannot coexist. Identifying and competitively inferior will be eliminated eventually. Moreover, some species may be developed mechanism of facilitated their coexistence. Parasitism. These interactions one the partners in benefited because it resides outside, inside and body of the host and get free accommodations and food while the host is affected due to loss of nutrient. Parasites is in nature have development a wide variety of adaptations such as hooks and suckers for attachment loss of digestive system. Thank you class.